been 1,000 miles of coming. Yes, I've worn blisters on my heels, trying to find me something better here on the streets of Bakersfield. Hey, you don't know me, but you don't like me. Say you care less how I feel, but how many of you that sit and judge me ever walk the streets of Bakersfield? Spent some time in San Francisco. I spent a night there in the can. Lived through this drunk man in my jail cell. I took $15 from that man, left him my watch and my old house key. Don't want folks thinking that I'd steal. Then I thanked him as I was leaving, and I headed out for Bakersfield. Hey, you don't know me, but you don't like me. Say you care less how I feel, but how many of you that sit and judge me ever walk the streets of Bakersfield? Hey, you don't know me, but you don't like me. Say you care less how I feel, but how many of you that sit and judge me ever walk the streets of Bakersfield? How many of you that sit and judge me ever walk the streets of Bakersfield?
We took a little trip along with Colonel Jackson down the mighty Mississippi. We took a little bacon and we took a little beans, and we caught the bloody British in a town in New Orleans. We fired our guns and the British kept a-coming. There wasn't as many as there was a while ago. We fired once more and they began to run it on down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. We looked down a river and we see the British come, and there must have been 100 of them beating on the drum. They stepped so high and they made the bugles ring. We stood beside our cotton bales and didn't say a thing. We fired our guns and the British kept a-coming. There wasn't as many as there was a while ago. We fired once more and they began to running on down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. Old Hickory said we could take them by surprise if we didn't fire muskets till we looked them in the eye. We held our fire till we see their faces well. Then we opened up our squirrel guns and really gave them well. We fired our guns and the British kept a-coming. There wasn't as many as there was a while ago. We fired once more and they began to running on down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. Yeah, they ran through the briars and they ran through the brambles and they ran through the bushes where a rabbit couldn't go. They ran so fast that the hounds couldn't catch them on down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. We fired our cannon till the barrel melted down. So we grabbed an alligator and we fought another round. We filled his head with cannonballs and powdered his behind. And when we touched the powder off, the gator lost his mind. We fired our guns and the British kept a-coming. There wasn't as many as there was a while ago. We fired once more and they began to running on down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. Yeah, they ran through the briars and they ran through the brambles and they ran through the bushes where a rabbit couldn't go. They ran so fast that the hounds couldn't catch them on down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico.
Friend, I'm writing you this letter. I think it's darn sure overdue. You think and mind your own damn business, and I won't blame you if you do. You know our range is getting smaller. I hear you're all broke up inside. It ain't the Bronx that's gonna kill you. It's your own fool cowboy pride. Here you'd left the chimney. You know that makes me kind of sad. She's a great old Spanish land grant. You're about the best she ever had. The cow boss and corporation seem to naturally collide, and you came off the loser with your damned old cowboy pride. Cowboy pride will always get a man through, but sometimes it makes a fool of you. Good women are hard to find, talking about the faithful kind. Now you're running with that waitress, and she's underage and wild. Well, your wife's the best there is, son. Would you leave her for that child? She stuck with you through the hard times. Think of all those nights she's cried. She become another victim of your damned old cowboy pride. Well, I guess I've said my piece, friend. Just something I had to do. You see, I made the same mistakes before she fell in love with you. Head on home, it ain't too late, son. Time to put the past aside, so you don't end up like me now, riding on old cowboy pride. Cowboy pride will always get a man through, but sometimes it makes a fool of you. Good women are hard to find,
ones I never left behind with the long forgotten games were the tales of wild and windy slopes by the man they call Will James. All the living of his cowboy dreams, or so it seemed to me. A perfect combination, riding high and living free. His heroes were his horses, and he drew them clear and true. On every page that come alive and jumped straight out at you. And his race towards the sunset was the high and lonesome kind, like the coyote always looking back, he left no tracks behind. So I've memorized those pictures, boys, they're still the very best. If whiskey was his mistress, his true love was the West. I remember up on Dead Man Creek back 30 years and more. I hired out to breaking colts, which I'd never done before.